the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report, where we count down the top 10 topics that made us go wow. I'm Fenton Bailey. I'm glad to be back, co-founder of World of Wonder, joyfully reunited with our Chief Creative Officer, Tom Campbell.
Hello.
Yeah. And editor of the Wow Report, James St. James.
Hello.
All right, let's do it. Number 10. I can't wait to hear about this.
Number 10.
I want to talk about monkeypox, not because I know anything. This is not a public service announcement. This is not I am truly curious. I want our collective minds here to help me understand what's going on, just a little bit. First of all, I just have to get my bad pun out of the way so I can actually think, which is I don't have monkeypox. I have chunkypox. and that keeps me away. I think that makes me safe.
How long did it come up? How long did it take you to come up with that one?
When I woke up this morning, it was the first thing I thought of.
You got some funky pox is what you got.
Making light. I do like there's a couple things going on. I want to talk about the stigma. I want to talk about the rollout of the vaccination. Again, not from a layman's point of view. And also the history. I think so much of this is PTSD to the AIDS crisis and the lack of response. It feels slightly different, but thank God but we have that, whether we like it or not, we have that experience and we have that activation. I'll be done in 1 second. I'm sorry. But it's interesting, and this is very personal and very who cares, but like in the height of the AIDS epidemic, you couldn't have told people told it's just curb your sexual appetite, which I found at the time impossible. Now that I have chunkypox, I'm an old man. It's easier for me if I'm not careful to be like, oh, just change your sexual behavior. It's really hard and unnatural. James, you're dying to say something. I don't want to keep it inside.
You're absolutely right that it is giving you PTSD on so many levels, because not only did you hear in the beginning of AIDS that it's just gay men, and that's it, until it wasn't just gay men, and by then it was too late. Now with COVID, you had the same thing where it's just old people. It's just old people and people with comorbidities, and that's it, and nobody else has to worry until it was too late for that. And it's like, when will we ever learn to stop stigmatizing one certain group of people, saying that they're the only ones that are going to get it, because they aren't. And by the time monkeypox starts spreading around, and then the same thing was happening with COVID, was it's just one person. It's just one person. It's just 15 people. It's just 100 people. It's just 1,000 people. And then by the time it was 100,000, it was too late. And the same thing is, it's just one person with monkeypox in America. It's just 20 people in New York. It's just 100 people across, 27 states. And you just keep hearing the same things, and we never seem to learn anything from these pandemics or whatever.
Well, you would have thought just after this epic, or as we're still going through this epic pandemic, lessons would have been learned and applied, but it seems not. People are having a hard time getting tested. They're getting a hard time getting vaccinated. They're having a hard time getting the drugs. It sounds and it sounds like it's much more nasty and painful than has previously been advertised.
Yes. And the fact is that we're stigmatizing. It's just the promiscuous gays who are out there getting it, or the bisexuals, or what the trans. But it's not, and it's not going to be that in about a month.
It's so sort of. Do you remember that film Cafe Flash, James?
Yeah.
Where after the sort of nuclear holocaust, only 1% of people can still have sex without getting violently sick. So everybody goes to Cafe Flesh, where they watch the few people who can have sex. It creates a sort of voyeuristic society of longing. Because, I think at this point, the only thing to do is become a monk or a nun or some sort of...
or a sponsor of the OnlyFans arts.
There you go. That's it. It's a great time for pornography, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Blake, you're out there in the field. What What are you hearing about monkeypox, and do you find behavior changing? Do you find are your friends getting, or are you getting the vaccination? What's going on?
Well, I was going to say, I have been researching the monkeypox vaccine, and it hasn't been really available due to a shortage, is what they've said. But I stopped by a place on Melrose the other day just because I was right by it, like a health center. And I asked, I was like, I'm here to, inquire about it. And right there, she said that the rules are changing every day, so keep checking. But right now, and that day, they had just released more. And right now, there's like 3 qualifications. One is if you've had gonorrhea or syphilis in the past year. Another is if you're on PrEP.
Right.
And then the last one is if you've been to a sex party or had multiple sexual partners recently.
Right. But that's the one that's going to get people right there. But I think, Tom, you and I have we were given the smallpox vaccine as children. They stopped in 1973. I don't know what it happened in UK, but I think that there is some protection for people who have the smallpox vaccine.
My doctor said it's not. There's been testing separately that the vaccination that we all got as kids against smallpox can last up to 80 years.
Yeah.
So they haven't done direct correlation tests.
I'm going to leave right now and go have myself a good time.
Quick out, you Fenton. Always looking for a quick out. Anyway, let's take this seriously. Let's not
Absolutely,
yeah. And we'll, this isn't your medical information place, I hope, but stay tuned to find out where to get back.
Yes, but definitely don't laugh it off and take it as seriously as we did, as you did for everything else.
Right, there was one mean tweet I read that someone snapped back really well. It was basically like, a bunch of gay guys with face masks waiting in line to get monkeypox vaccination, and they were sexually shaming them, like, which you only get by having sex with strangers. It's like, that's actually really responsible behavior to have your mask on in a line of people to get a vaccination against a disease that you don't want to, possibly get or spread anyway.
Right. Very well said. All right, let's move on to number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9, a couple rest in pieces. I wanted to talk about. The first was, it's sort of a little problematic. It's sort of hard to come out and say rest in peace, Ivana Trump, because so many people have so many horrible things to say about her. I wrote a tweet in which I had said, she was sort of a nutty glamazon in my mind, that she, had terrible taste in husbands. Her children were monsters, but if you were around in New York in the 80s, she had a certain allure about her. She had a certain glamour that was pretty undeniable, and that she and Donald, no matter how horrible you thought they were still the biggest power couple New York had ever seen. And when you saw them at parties, you did gasp. And many, many times I spoke to her, and she always would come over and say something funny. And she'd clink your martini glasses together. And she loved the club kids. She loved drag queens. Whenever she saw a kook at a party, she would come over and just plop down and start talking to them. And that speaks a lot to me. So I sort of felt, I was a little conflicted, because yes, what became of the Trumps is something, historical, but by the same token, I didn't have really bad feelings for her. So rest in power, Ivana. The other one was Claes Oldenburg, the pop artist who was 93. I had no idea he was still around.
No, nor me, and nary a mention of his departing. I mean, it's just been all Ivana.
Yeah, well, I mean, the New York Times did give a really great obituary in which they were talking about how, he's famous for his sculpting these giant, enormous, colossal, soft fabric of cheeseburgers and pastries and everyday found objects that predated Warhol's soup cans. And he was, along with Lichtenstein, Oldenburg, and Warhol, they were the 3 titular, triumvirate of pop art. And he's sort of gotten a little bit lost, I think, in history. We still Lichtenstein.
Well, honey, Warhol cleaned up, outwit, outlast, out survive, or whatever that expression is.
And yet, whenever you see an Oldenburg, it always gives you that same warm, fuzzy, funny feeling that a Warhol or a Lichtenstein does.
And it's an Oldenburg.
You know it's an Oldenburg, yes, because it's
It was so easy in the pop art days. You just did one thing and just repeat, rinse and repeat. I'm not being Negatron. I was like, I'm gonna make soft sculptures. That's it.
Well, no, in the later years, he did do like there's a giant 100-foot shuttlecock that's in front of like the Washington Post. I mean, he does these giant pieces now of metal sculptures of everyday objects, of an apple core that's in front of the UN or something. Interesting stuff. So if you get a chance, Google some Claes Oldenburg and rest in peace.
Maybe Baz Luhrmann will make a biopic of his life and reignite interest in his career.
There you go.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Went to New York on vacation for a week. Little Elliot, who's 7, was his first long flight, first time in New York. And we also took him to his first theater show.
Oh, wow.
So we went to see Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, based on the Roger Corman film that then became a musical in like 82.
Suddenly Seymour.
Is that fun for a 7-year-old or is that brutal for a 7-year-old?
Well, it was an interesting choice, I suppose, really. But it was interesting for reasons that we hadn't anticipated. He loved it because Elliot loves horror and gore. He just loves zombies and brain eating. I mean, he's a sort of, I don't know about this child sometimes. So anyway, he was fine with that. But what happened was, so there we were sitting there eating our popcorn, and the couple in front was a guy and a woman, and they just seemed a little odd, just a little weird. And so suddenly at one point, like 3 songs in, she just projectile vomits all over the people in front of her. Little Shop of Horrors for real. And so the people in front, a guy and a girl, get up and stumble out, and they say, "You just vomited on my date." The woman who vomited gets up and in trying to get out falls over and then trips on the stairs and there's more vomit. And literally we are all sitting right there. They were right in front of us. And it was just really terrible. Thank goodness we were wearing our masks. It sort of felt like we were somewhat protected. But this is the word that the show went on because we were in the guards all the way in the back. And the worst bit is, the woman in front of the woman who'd been puked on just started reaching back with her hand and felt that she'd been puked on. So she got out a napkin and just brushed it off. That was how it remained. And then the couple next to them, adjacent to them, the guy got out his cell phone, turned on the flashlight to sort of see what was going on. Was vomit all down her trousers. And I was like, I'm not good around vomiting people or vomit. It sets me off like, but the sort of usher kept on appearing and like trying to spritz it away, and it was just, and then he put a little bit of tape over the empty seats, so like as if anyone was going to sit there. And then in the intermission, so the intermission comes and we're all like, we're all chatting about this, and the manager comes up and says, "Good news. She's not sick. She doesn't have Ebola or COVID." And I was like, "Okay." She was just really drunk, and she wants to come back for the second half.
No.
And we're like, no, absolutely not. I was like, "Are you insane?" Like, it's like, no.
It's like going to the theater with the club kids. I'm having PTSD.
Do you have some projectile vomit stories to share?
I have many projectile vomit stories. But how was Elliot? Ultimately Elliot enjoyed the show though?
He did. And he was so taken with what was happening on stage. This whole drama didn't really, register with him. Yes.
That's nice. Oh, good. And what was the show? Was it a good show? Was the Seymour with the plant good?
Show. Yeah, it is a good show. It is a good show.
It's the best. It's the best vom-com on Broadway.
Blake, take it away. I love that.
I saw this production with a different cast when it first opened, and I love Little Shop of Horrors. Love.
Yeah.
Of course,
yeah.
my
I mean,
one
the
threw up for me.
songs just they stand up. They really do, and it is a foolproof musical.
Let's take a break. Blake, do you have a question? Oh, Blake, have you got a plug and a question?
I do have a plug. Drag Race Philippines has just been announced. Premieres August 17th on Wow Presents Plus. That's worldwide, excluding Canada, where it will be on Crave. And Jiggly Caliente has just been announced as a host, our very own. So tune in. Get your subscription to Wow Presents Plus at wowpresentsplus.com.
That's it.
And I do have a question. It may not be Pride Month anymore, but we're still deep in Pride season. And some of you probably know this, but lots of people don't. Which of the Golden Girls had a gay brother?
All right, we'll have the answer for you right after the break. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Tom and James and Blake.
Yep, I had a question. It's still Pride season, even though it's not Pride Month. Many of you may know this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Which of the Golden Girls had a gay brother?
Well, I remember the episode like it was yesterday because she had such a hard time with it, and you had a hard time believing she would have a hard time with it. It was very weird. It's 1, 2, 3.
Blanche Devereaux.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I thought you meant gay brother in real life.
Oh,
No. Blanche, remember the episode where the brother came and she was having such a hard. He introduced his fiance's lover, and she was like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Seems like yesterday.
Streaming on Hulu, by the way. I still watch it a lot at night.
I think it's also on Logo. It's kind of like it's
was
like,
also on I think TNT. It's the one right above Murder She Wrote, because you can go back and forth between Murder She Wrote and Golden Girls
every episode
every night.
Every episode is streaming on Hulu. So
Nice.
Awesome. We are counting down the top 10 things that made us go wow, and we've reached number 7.
Number 7.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the trailer to RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race dropped this week, and the reaction has been huge. James, did you see it?
I have not, so please describe it for me.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see it. It's a whole new set. Obviously, I can't tell too much. And all of the contestants, it's 9 celebrities from different walks of life agreed to walk away from their famous celebrity personas to fully embrace the miracle of drag. And they compete weekly for charity as drag queens in huge production numbers, like lip sync battle, Kiss My Grits. And RuPaul is there in full fabulous drag. We have Michelle, Ross, and Carson. There's a big audience. And the stage is it's a brand new stage. And it's this beautiful kind of like if a proscenium post-earthquake. It's very crooked.
I love that. It feels very like Titanic, but not. Like just sort of,
No, it's distinctive. No one's really seen it yet. And it is. We've done a celebrity drag race and secret celebrity drag race before, in which times we did it more like an episode of Drag Race where. It's the same thing, and people walk in the room that transform sort of one-offs. This is much more in the vein of a Dancing with the Stars, or where each person it starts on the stage, it ends on the stage. It's performance heavy, and there's background packages that set up each of the packages. But it was a blast to make. It's been in the can for a few months, not many, and it's coming to VH1. August, I want to say 12th, but Blake's going to check that. So it's going to be interesting to see how people take to it. I'm a weirdo because I work on it, and we obviously know people know and love the different drag races and all-stars and all that kind of stuff. And this is sort of take to the next level. The network wanted to sort of do something different and kind of encourage us to think bigger and to do something different, and so we did.
Tom, I have a key question. Who are the celebrities on Secret Celebrity Drag Race?
It's a secret. They don't get revealed who the celebrities are until they're eliminated.
Oh,
so it's like the Masked Singer in that respect.
It is a little bit, and we're gonna see how that plays because, as RuPaul says in the promo and on the show and in real life, drag doesn't change who you are; it reveals who you are. So I don't. We're just not paying attention to the celebrity; we're paying attention to the drag queen. So we'll see how that all plays out. Again, it's something new, and even though some people have complained about too much Drag Race, this has been such an opportunity for us as a company and as people to do different things, whether it's the Christmas movie or this, it's just from that point of view and from the visibility of queer people, it's exciting to take a chance. You never know what's going to be huge. I love this show and loved making it and loved watching the episodes. So I'm it's the first time in a long time that it's like, but are people going to like it? Is it going to be a hit? Like, what's going to happen?
So that's kind of exciting because August 12th is the premiere of RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race, which is
how many
on
episodes are
VH1.
there?
But it's also for our international listeners, of whom I know there are legions. It's going to be on 1% Plus as well. It's
And how many episodes are there?
8 episodes.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to mortgage your whole life. You don't have to, cancel plans with friends. You can just sneak that into your life, James. It's just you watch 8 episodes. You watch 8 hours in 2 hours. I know
I can totally do it, definitely.
So it's on Wow Presents Plus worldwide and on VH1 here in the States and on Crave in Canada.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's carry on with the countdown. Things that made us go wow. Number 6.
Number 6.
I watched on Turner Classic Movies 2 very disturbing movies that could never be made today, and it's just mind-blowing, these 2 movies. I hadn't revisited them in a long time. The first was Belle de Jour, 1967, Catherine Deneuve, made by Louis Buñuel, who is the great surrealist director, and she plays a frigid housewife who decides to become a prostitute during the daytime while her husband is at work. Just out of the blue, she just sort of decides, I'm going to become a prostitute. And she goes to a brothel, and every afternoon she has John after John after John come and visit her. And Deneuve has never been more beautiful and more inscrutable. There's just this blank face that men can project all their fantasies onto, and it just gets sicker and sicker and sicker as it goes along, and her fantasies sort of blend into reality, and you don't know what's real and what's her fantasy anymore. And by the end, it's just this sort of confusing psychosexual mess, and it's absolutely fascinating. The big star of the movie, though, is that this is around the time that Audrey Hepburn was collaborating with Givenchy in all of her movies, and Deneuve decides that she's going to be collaborating with Yves Saint Laurent. And so we have all of these fabulous 1967 Yves Saint Laurent outfits that just are steal the show, and it's hard to do. Take it away from Louis Buñuel and Catherine Deneuve, but it's fabulous. Do you remember this, Fenton? Have you seen this?
I do. And leave it to the French to make a lovely pervy movie.
It is
it's
lovely.
So good at it.
It is so gorgeous to look at, and her fantasies where she's being raped by the revolutionary soldiers it's just creepy and crazy, and it could never be made today. The other one that I know we've talked about before is Death in Venice, where you have Dirk Beauregard, directed by Visconti, which right there is, it doesn't get better than Visconti. And it's Dirk Beauregard is an aging composer, and he goes to Venice and he sees a young boy on the beach, 14, 15 years old, and he becomes obsessed with him, and he starts stalking him. And pervy, creepy, but beautifully shot, unbelievably beautifully shot. The boy is what is his name? Bjorn Anderson, and he was touted as the most beautiful boy on the planet, and that's how they sort of sold him to the audiences. And the boy, they never speak, they never talk throughout the entire movie, but The boy looks at him and smiles at him and bats his eyelashes and sort of walks past him, saunters past him. And you don't know whether he knows what he's doing and he's trying to drive the old man crazy, or if he's sort of in the composer's mind, he is just the epitome, the embodiment of youth and beauty and blossoming sexuality, and it could never be made today. You could never, ever, ever do this. Yes, Fenton?
Have you seen, and I have not, The Most Beautiful Boy in the World, which is a documentary about Bjorn Andersson's life?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because we spent a whole topic speaking about it a couple months ago, and I don't know where you were in your mind. Because
I was away.
No, you were here and we talked about it with you. But yes, it is a documentary that's out there, The Most Beautiful Boy in the World, and it is interesting because it really screwed with this young actor's mind to have that gay fixation and the idolatry around him when he was such a young boy coming into his own. And
I think it's hard to make a film today that is so open-ended, and I think the whole process is like, who are we sympathizing with? What's the narrative arc? Like all that stuff all that possibilities get squeezed out of, like, you got to say exactly what it's doing, what it's meaning, what it's saying, what the point of it is.
And you have to have this beat here, this beat here, this beat here, and if you don't, I also wanted to say that Marissa Berenson is in it, and she's absolutely fantastic. That the great actress, Italian actress Silvana Magana, I think is her name, absolutely stunning. And it's just, veils in the wind, blowing in the wind, and everybody in their Edwardian outfits traipsing along the beach. It's just fantastic.
And there's a touch of cholera too, isn't there? Like a
plague.
The plague.
And spoiler alert: he dies.
Oh, I wasn't gonna.
I love
the movie.
They should change the title to A Touch of Cholera. I really like that.
That's the sequel. We're going to work on that. Moving on to number 5.
Number 5.
MJ. Have you seen MJ?
And I'm
morally ambiguous about it.
I find this distasteful.
Music.
Oh my God. Stop. You have to see it. It is spectacular. I'm sorry. It is. Don't eye roll at me. For the first... But
for the listeners out there, I have been eye rolling.
It tells the story of the Dangerous Tour, which was, of course, the tour before the scandal, or rather the third leg in Bangkok, kind of got derailed by the Geordie Chandler scandal and the accusations of all that. And needless to say, this is not about that. It's about planning this tour, devising this tour, staging this tour. It is unbelievably good. The music is fantastic, of course. Whatever we feel about Michael Jackson, the music is undeniable genius. And the dancing and the singing and the performances are incredible. And what they also do quite cleverly is weave in his entire backstory and childhood career story while putting together the Dangerous Tour. I went with very low expectations and mixed feelings. And I have to say, only a misanthrope, which I am, but even a worse misanthrope, if there is such a thing, could not like this. It's so great. And there is a point at which, when they do Thriller, it is so visually stunning and shocking and amazing. And the dancing is like nothing you have ever seen before. It's Baz Luhrmann on crack. It's absolutely incredible. It really is. Really, really is.
What's interesting is, having watched the Tonys this year, did you guys watch the Tonys? They did Dirty Diana or something they did a piece from that, and it did not convey what you're saying. I'm not being mean. It was not the billboard you just gave. It was well choreographed and interesting, but it's too bad they didn't do the.
But by the same token, what I did get on the Tonys was how the verisimilitude, how realistic he was, the actor who plays Michael Jackson was,
he won the Tony.
He is. Yeah.
Oh, Miles Frost. He is unbelievable, and even the voice. I mean, there are moments where you think you're watching Michael Jackson. And there are moments also, I dare say, where actually you feel the dancing exceeds Michael Jackson's. I really do.
The thing is that, I mean, there have been over the years, there have been like Evita about, a horrible woman, and you make this
I
fabulous.
love Evita.
No, I know, but you aren't supposed to love Evita. You aren't supposed to love the woman, but they made this fabulous musical about her, like Sweeney Todd or something like that, where it's about horrible people, but it's still a fabulous musical. I don't know that we should be celebrating Michael Jackson just yet. I think you need 50 years time or 100 years time before we can go back and separate the art from the artist.
I'm not going to be around in 50 years or 100 years time, and I'm so glad I saw this. My life is a little bit better for it. And I think that I just don't think you can condemn I know this is a hot debate, but I do not see how you can not listen and admire and enjoy the music and the artistry.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and there is no problem with like Picasso. It's been 100 years, and you can separate the art from the artist at this point. Picasso was a horrible person. Wagner was a horrible
didn't
person.
go away during the 100 years he's been dead.
What?
So I hear what you're saying. It's always very confusing, but we do live in a world that's about money. It's interesting that Elvis, the movie, is a worldwide hit, icon of entertainment.
But it has been 50 years. It has been almost 50 years since he died, and you can go back to some.
And Marilyn Monroe, who has no slights against her, but they're talking about the bombshell things coming out. I don't know.
I guess I will always think that people have the right to tell stories, and the day you can't tell stories that's when we're really in trouble.
And you can choose whether to go or not to go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, don't go. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
All right, watch Canada's Drag Race Season 3, Thursday, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. on Wow Presents Plus, worldwide, excluding Canada, where it's on in Crave. It's a really good season, guys. And we'll take a quick break. Blake, you got a question?
Yes. What country currently holds the record for the biggest Pride parade ever?
We'll have the answer right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James St. James and Tom Campbell and Blake Jacobs.
Hi. I asked what country currently holds the record for the biggest Pride parade ever. It's not the U.S.
I'm going to say Germany for some reason.
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
Ah, there you go.
Australia. I'm gonna Australia.
It's Brazil.
Oh, that does make sense, doesn't it? They know how to parade, don't they? They know how to walk down the street.
So many thongs, so little.
We are getting down the top 10 things that make us go wow. We've reached number 4.
Number 4.
I feel just when people dig up these tapes in 100 years after we're done being canceled, James, I think they'd want us to know our point of view on the Bennifer, the J-Lo, Ben Affleck marriage, which is epic, even if though it feels like a reboot we didn't ask for.
But God bless it. So it's so nice to see again, isn't it? It's like it's like having mom's homemade cooking again.
Yes. Again, it's just who would have thunk it? They got back together right after. I mean, everyone knows the facts. Right after she broke up with is it A-Rod, and it seemed like a rebound. But I guess these two crazy kids have always been there for each other. They and times have changed. What was it, 17 years or more ago? And they said at the time, could have been an excuse, that they broke up because of the press coverage. And it wasn't that crazy Britney, that crazy time. Although I'll have to say the interest in this story, a friend of mine just moved into a house on the same street as where Jennifer's living right now. And he said, he walked me in my car. He goes, she's not here today, because usually their Beverly Hills Street is lined with paparazzi that follow them everywhere they go. And it's also kind of tacky and fascinating that they got married at the Little White Chapel in Las Vegas.
I love that. Yes.
And you know, and all the pictures we see are from Jennifer Lopez made an announcement on Instagram and then sent you to like jenniferlopez.com to become a member to see the rest. So I guess they're still being hounded, but now she's older and wiser and has some control.
Knows how to monetize that.
Yes. Supposedly the only pictures taken were by their kids. They each brought a child or something. So it's kind of cute, but it also got me Googling, and I wanted to, a lot of people, for better or worse, have been married, a lot of celebrities, at the Little White Chapel in Vegas, which has
Joan Collins, right?
Yes, I'll have a whole list, but it has like it has a gazebo, it has the Little White Chapel, it has, what, did I miss a joke?
No, I
Phil Collins, of all people that got married.
Joan Collins.
John
Oh,
Collins,
I thought you
yes.
Phil. Phil Collins was there.
Or you can have the Elvis wedding where Elvis sings to you in one, or he actually officiates and sings, and you can sit in his Cadillac. One's where you just sit in the Cadillac, and one's where I guess they drive it through the tunnel of love. So these are all just things we should all pay attention to. But I'm just going to list the things. So yes, absolutely, Joan Collins, James Caan, Britney has been married there. Sarah Michelle Gellar has been married there. Frank Sinatra married Mia Farrow there. Bruce Willis married Demi Moore.
Didn't Kourtney Kardashian just get married there?
She had a fake wedding there. Yes, you're right. Thank you. Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet got married and remarried there. Patty Duke married her first and third husband there. Like George and Alana Hamilton, Ricky Lake got married there. Would you ever get married in Vegas?
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
I'm not getting married again in my life. And here's the thing about them, though. I feel zero chemistry between them. I have zero feelings for either of them. Like, just
Well, but I have a feeling, though,
dead zone.
but wouldn't you feel that if Brad and Jennifer got back together, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt wouldn't you feel that same joy that many people feel about?
I would, but I'm trying to understand why. Like, it's a sort of an emotional desert for me. I have no feelings about either of them.
Ben's been a little shut down publicly, right? For the past decade or so, we haven't really got a lot of warm.
I remember having dinner with you and Randy at Ledoux, and it was the first time that Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt were on a date, and they walked in and sat at the table next to us, and we fell on the floor. We were flopping around.
Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, yes.
Do you know how Jennifer Lopez, whenever she's in public for anything, like a book tour or a GLAAD award, she always is just done up in a new outfit, new dress, new makeup. Like, how do you make your wedding? Like most women, it's like, this is the most special day of my life for the fifth time. I'm going to wear a dress I've never worn before. How does she, when she had two dresses and stuff. But
how do you top that if you're Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
You know what? We want everyone to be happy.
Well, I want to do what Tom says. I don't care.
Get to use your I don't care once every show. That's it.
Right. All right, let's move on to number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3, I have a couple stories that happened this week too, some pop culture news. The first was the Ricky Martin sex abuse thing, which was so upsetting because the news came out earlier this week that his nephew had accused him of grooming him, of sexually abusing him, of
the I word.
Yeah, stalking him, incest, and took out a restraining order on him, and people were very quick on the social media to jump in with many Ricky Martin jokes. She bangs, he bangs jokes, and La Vida Loca, he's living La Vida, too much La Vida Loca, all that stuff. And the thing about Ricky is, that he had such a rough childhood, and he himself was a victim of so much abuse. And then he sort of rose above it all and has become such a role model for so many people. And it seems like one of the legitimately good people out there, one of the really, really nice people. And so you didn't want it. And then yesterday, it came out that the kid recanted his statement and that he said that he has some mental health issues and that it was all a lie. And so it's great to hear that Ricky is sort of being, vindicated, but also a lot of times when people throw dirt it sticks on you, whether, no matter what you do. And you just hope that Ricky sort of rises above this and can do okay.
Thursday night, James, he's was at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, nice. Well, I hope he gets a wonderful, rousing rousing,
just
ovation.
Everybody just kind of wouldn't believe it. It didn't make sense to them.
It didn't make sense.
And now officially, Ricky's brother, who's the father, I think, of the kid, has said that the kid has problems, and the kid. So it's been taken back. Never, those kind of lies, like you said, they don't get taken back as loudly as they are.
Exactly. What is it you've said before? A lie can go around the world 100 times before the truth makes it to,
I think it's before the truth has its pants on.
Yeah. The truth before the truth has its pants on.
It takes its once a month Boniva, but that's just me.
Now, the other big story that happened yesterday that just threw me for a loop, just fantastic, is the news that a Russian oligarch's super yacht had been seized in port, and as they were going through the yacht, they discovered a Faberge egg that had hitherto never been seen before. Of course, the Faberge eggs, Tsar Nicholas commissioned 56 of them in his lifetime. No, 52 of them, and 46 of them have been found. So there are 6
missing eggs
that are still out there, and this might be one of them. They it's at a museum right now being authenticated and verified and everything.
That is so exciting.
It is, because
more oligarch yachts to find more eggs.
Yes,
exactly. So this to me is the greatest news of the century. Faberge. Hey, I remember at the Forbes Museum on Fifth Avenue, they had a bunch of them there, and I would go down and look at them.
Were eggs a thing? Like decorative eggs, like bejeweled eggs, like the Faberge? Were they part of a whole sort of genre in a way that?
Excellent question. Tsar Nicholas, for his wife, Maria Fedorova, I think was her name. For her birthday, he commissioned one from Faberge, and it was bejeweled, and it opened up, and there was a little carriage inside, and a little picture of them in it. Blah, blah. And she loved it so much that every year for the rest of his life, he commissioned one for her birthday every year, and one for Christmas, and one for Easter. And then when he died, Tsar Alexander, I believe, his son, continued until the Bolshevik Revolution came and got them. But they are each one is completely different and has little pictures inside of it and little moving parts and robots and flowers. And
when I think of Faberge, I think of Zoldy, like the outfits he makes for real. I just think these sort of intricate, like just that sort of obsessive focus on a thing and just doing it again and again and again, but always making it different and reinventing it.
Yes. I sort of think of Suzanne Barsh when she got married in the giant egg. Remember her egg wedding dress?
Lady Gaga. Remember Lady Gaga coming?
Yes, coming out of the egg. Yes.
I would be remiss not to say it reminds me of the Joan Rivers classic jewelry collection, because she used to have a lot of eggs that she would make that were inspired by the
Judith Lieber handbags.
James, yes. I love that. I just, for every now and then, I'll go and look on the website.
I do too.
And just scroll through macaroons and little champagne bottles and
someday when I can afford it, I'm going to collect Judith.
You know
Lieber
what I want for Christmas? It's fine.
There you go. You go.
Every year from now on. All right. Number two. In New York, did a little culture, went to see some exhibitions. An amazing exhibition. Basquiat, King of Pleasure.
Oh, you saw this. How exciting.
Yes. We were so excited. We thought it was going to be completely sold out. So we bought the skip the line tickets, and we'd show up and there was no one in line. But that was fine, because this is the most amazing exhibition. Now, it's put on by the family, the Basquiat family, his 2 sisters in particular. And it's so great because it isn't a stuffy academic. It's a real family show. And they recreate the room where he grew up. They recreate his studio.
Wait, don't they recreate the Michael Todd room as well?
As usual, James.
I'm so sorry.
Shooting my load.
Yes.
Cut it out.
I'm
going to work my way through
Go on. I'm sorry.
But I will fast forward because it's the only bit you're interested in. I totally get it. They have the picture that is 40 feet long.
Yes, that
was
amazing one.
behind the bar in the Michael Todd room at the Palladium. I was so excited. I was like, Billy, Nolan, Elliot, this is where Daddy used to go. Because they couldn't give two tosses. And the only thing about this moment is that the picture is so long, and they sort of try to recreate the Michael Todd room, and it's sort of more like an airport lounge. It doesn't feel, there's a chandelier with some plastic beads on it. But then there's this spectacular
needed to have a
picture.
hologram of Anita Sarko DJing.
Yeah, exactly. And this picture must be worth what? I mean, 2, 3, 4, 500 million, because it's so big. But the other hilarious thing is, so they're also showing pictures of New York nightlife, as a sort of, because it's very much about his life and his style, where he went, and there's this picture of Warhol and Basquiat here and here and here, and then there's this person right behind Warhol and Basquiat. Blow me down, it's Bernard Zett.
Oh,
Who is that?
Bernard Zett was the muse at Area. He did all the installations behind the windows. He would be Anne Frank. He would be Jackie Kennedy. He did
Jane Jetson, Lieutenant Uhura.
Living tableaus. He did.
But I think you're sort of blowing your not going with the lead here, which is he is your designer,
interior designer.
He moved to LA and he became an interior designer. Yes,
and he designed World of Wonders, each floor on World of Wonder. He did Randy and Fenton's houses. He just did the guest house.
Yes, and this wallpaper was Bernard. This is a Bernard interior. So that was very exciting.
Did the Palm Springs house? I can't remember.
He did some of it. Yeah,
nice.
But it was amazing to see that picture, and it was just, you just got such a feel for him, and it was just really, really lovely.
I've always heard you refer to him as Bernard, so I know who Bernard is. I didn't know, but when you added his last name, that's what threw me.
Right. Well, because he now goes by AJ Bernard, but at the time he was just known as Zett downtown, Zette. But the exhibition is really fantastic. So tickets are on sale, I think, through. Oh, well, that's the other interesting thing. It's not actually in a sort of art space. It's in this massive building on 26th Street. They sort of built the gallery in the building. It's really.
I've also seen that there's in the images from the nightlife that there's some Diane Brill pictures and some.
Yeah, she's there. And I'm sure, James, in the pictures you can be. I looked for you, but I didn't spend too long looking. And but I'm sure you're there. Let's take one more break. Oh my gosh, this is a Drag Race tsunami. Drag Race Down Under season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Premieres next Saturday, July 30th on Wow Presents Plus Worldwide, excluding Canada, UK, and Down Under.
It's an excellent season. I was there. I can vouch for it. You were there too, Fenton.
Yes, it is. It is excellent. So you sign up, wowpresentsplus.com. You can get Super Celebrity Drag Race, Secret Celebrity Drag Race. You can get Drag Race Philippines, and you can get Drag Race Down Under. Oh my gosh!
And Canada and France and
that
must be like $20 a month, right?
No, Tom, it's only $4.99.
That's less than the cost of a latte.
You're so right, it is. All right, we'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. Fenton here with Tom and James. We've been counting down the top 10 things that make us go wow, and we've reached number 1.
Number 1.
I just signed up today following this Twitter account. I don't really post on Twitter much, but I do follow things. And Celebrity Jets. Celebrity Jets is an automated Twitter site that tracks the journeys of celebrities in their jets. And lists how long the journey was, from where to where, how long the journey was, how much fuel they used, and how much what are those fumes called that create global warming?
Carbon offset.
Yeah, carbon emissions. How many tons of carbon emissions? One of the Kardashians' 3-minute jet ride to get the dry cleaning created.
Yeah, it was Kylie, and she took a 10-minute jet ride that would have been a 40-minute car ride, and people were up in arms. And then it all started tumbling out, all the different celebrities that have been doing this, who get on their planes and take 7-minute rides, 15-minute rides, and they're the ones who are always lecturing us about our carbon footprints and about how to make the world a better place and a greener place and blah blah blah. And the hypocrisy that is just, I mean, it's unbelievable.
But
oh no, you are not going to defend them, are you?
I'm just gonna say, do jets really create that much? They create more pollution than most planes, yes, because there's fewer people on them. Yes, got it. But really, in the scheme of things, are they creating more greenhouse gases?
I have a feeling the bigger picture is the hypocrisy of people trying to lecture you about living greener lives, like a Leonardo DiCaprio, who is always doing that and then taking private jets. And it just feels icky and wrong. And the fact is that you can take what is the difference really between a 40-minute car ride and driving to the airport, getting on the plane, waiting on the road,
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's other people. That's the difference.
Well, she also
the tray
tweeted
of crudité.
The thing that we're not mentioning is she tweeted a picture of her and Travis Scott with both of their private jets, and it was like, "Are we taking mine or yours?" So people are like,
it's a little icky, and it's a little, let them eat cake, and it's a little bit of
and be angry at Kylie. But I hate to say, just a little happy note for the end of the show. We're all doomed, because I think people don't want equality. All of us want privilege, and they have, their money buys them private jets. Our money buys us X, Y, and Z. Somebody else's money buys, and there's no public policy. There's no who do you blame, us or the corporations that keep us dependent on oil?
There's got to be a line, though. You have to draw a line in the sand when they start coming after the elites with their pitchforks and their torches. There's a reason why some people are worse than others, and some of this feels this is a line for me, that this is a bridge too far. I'm sorry. I mean, yes, I will go and buy myself a nice little outfit or something like that, but I'm not going to be doing. There's just a vulgarity involved in this that I think is disgusting.
Okay, so I won't be inviting you on that private jet ride to New York.
No, you don't, and you don't have to. I will happily drive 40 minutes as opposed to
I will walk
7. Yeah, no, I will. My God.
I hear you. No, it's all gross. I just think we're all guilty in some way, and thank God, Mama Kris Jenner is out in the press saying, "I'm worried about how Kylie's spending her money. They're spending it like, she spent a little too much. We have to rein her in a little bit. No more. Maybe she'll have less Starbucks runs."
Well, when Mama Kardashian is the voice of reason in this argument, I mean, that's when we're all doomed. Okay.
Well, there's a note to end on. I love it. I love it. So good to see you. Thank you, James. Thank you, Tom. And thank you, Blake. Love you both. And thank you for listening and watching, maybe here on the YouTube channel, Wow Presents Plus. In the meantime, same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go wow.